plans, and they're a lot different than what we thought they'd be. First off, China's only being taxed at a 10% rate, with Canada being 15% higher at 25% tariff. Mexico also falls into this category with a 25% tariff. What do you think of these plans by Donald Trump? Let me know in the comments, and make sure to hit a follow to stay tuned for updates.
Welcome back to Live Now from Fox. We're going to take you back out to this breaking news that we brought you here just about a few moments ago, that President Claudia Sheinbaum said today that Mexico could retaliate with tariffs of its own after U.S. President-elect Donald Trump threatened to impose 25% import duties on Mexican goods if the country doesn't stop the flow of drugs and migrants across the border. Sheinbaum said she was willing to engage in talks on the issues, but said drugs were a U.S. problem. We do have a quote from Sheinbaum. This was her referring to U.S. automakers that have plants on both sides of the border. Here's what she says, quote, "One tariff would be followed by another in response, and so on until we put at risk common businesses," end quote. She said today that Mexico had done a lot to stem the flow of migrants. She said, quote, "Caravans of migrants are no longer reaching the border." However, Mexico's efforts to fight drugs like deadly synthetic opioid fentanyl, which is manufactured by Mexican cartels using chemicals imported from China, have weakened in the last year. Sheinbaum said Mexico suffered from an influx of weapons smuggled in from the United States and said the flow of drugs is, quote, "a problem of public health and consumption in your country's society." She also criticized the U.S. for spending on weapons, saying the money should instead be spent regionally to address the problem of migration.
I had a good call with Donald Trump last night again. We obviously talked about laying out the facts, talking about how the intense and effective connections between our two countries flow back and forth. We talked about some of the challenges that we can work on together. It was a good call. This is something that we can do, laying out the facts, moving forward in constructive ways. This is a relationship that we know takes a certain amount of working on, and that's what we'll do. One of the really important things is that we be all pulling together on this. The Team Canada approach is what works. That's where, putting aside partisanship, that's where I reached out immediately to Doug Ford to agree with him that we would have a First Ministers meeting this week to talk about the United States, talked with François Legault and some other premiers as well. There's work to do, but we know how to do it.
So you want to charge Canada and Mexico 25% tariffs on goods. Things get imported from Mexico. Automobiles, vehicles, electronics, appliances, crude petroleum, medical instruments, fruits and vegetables. They import a lot of bell peppers, cucumbers, squash, up to half of the tomatoes, lettuce, watermelons, avocados, strawberries, coffee beans, computer equipment, audio and video equipment, beverages. What about Canada? Oils, minerals, cement. 2021 imported $105 billion worth of it, which was 47% of the total U.S. imports in that category. Anything that's wood, cork, paper, printed books, 46% of the total U.S. import. Metal, iron, steel, tools, 20% of the total U.S. imports. I am in the real estate industry, okay? I'm a realtor. 80% of the U.S. softwood lumber imports came from Canada. Combining with the massive deportation and the higher costs of materials, how much is this going to cost to build a house? Do you remember how much lumber cost during the pandemic? Let's go back to Mexico. They built Volkswagen, built the Q5 Audi, they built the CR-V, the HR-V, the Fit, they built the Toyota Camry and Corolla, they built the Chevrolet Silverado, cheapest car you can get is a Nissan, the Sentra, the Versa, the QX50. GM produced the Chevrolet, the Cadillac, the Mazda 3 and the Mazda 2, Kia Forte and Rio, BMW 3 Series and 5 Series. I just found this Canada. The largest supplier of lumber to the U.S. accounts for 39% of the U.S. woods import in 2022. China imports 14%. Mexico import 4.4%. So over 50% of the lumber comes from somewhere else. And you think the cost of housing is going to go down? Listen, I've been through this once as an adult. I've been through the 2008 and 2009 and 10, 11, 12 Great Recession. I'm usually an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. This does not help the economy. And I'm not even an economist. Everyone is going to pay a higher price. I would say learn how to cook to save some money. All your produce picked by migrants is going to go up. All the paper products, all the containers, you know what I mean, that I mentioned before, that hold your cereal, cardboard boxes, they're all going up. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Eat a lot. Watch some good movies. And don't buy anything on TikTok Shop. Need to save some money.
Breaking news. Trump's bold plan to impose 25% tariff on Mexico and Canada. What's the impact? Breaking news. President-elect Donald Trump has announced that one of his first acts in office will be to impose a sweeping 25% tariff on all products imported from Canada and Mexico. This dramatic move is aimed at forcing America's neighbors to take stronger action against illegal immigration and drug smuggling. Trump stated on Truth Social that the tariffs will remain in place until Mexico and Canada crack down on the flow of drugs, particularly fentanyl, and stop the invasion of illegal migrants. He emphasized that both countries have the power to solve the problem, but have failed to do so, and now it's time for them to pay a very big price. This new tariff plan also extends to China, with Trump promising an additional 10% tariff on Chinese products in response to the ongoing fentanyl crisis. Trump's plan could have significant economic and diplomatic implications, with experts predicting it may raise federal revenues by as much as $2.7 trillion. But will these tariffs actually curb illegal immigration and drug trafficking, or will they lead to economic backlash from the U.S.'s closest trading partners? What do you think about Trump's tariff plan? Is it the right move to secure America's borders, or will it backfire economically? Drop your thoughts below.
Fuck around and find out chapter 3. You guys are just giving. It's giving. So Trump announced the 25% tariff on day 1 to Canada and Mexico for our goods. We just have to sit back and watch the fuckery. And unfortunately, it's going to affect me. And it's going to affect every American. Because where do we get a lot of our fruits and vegetables? Mexico. Where do we get our oil? Canada. Tariff. Do you guys, it doesn't click. But that's okay. Because we're just about to prove how dumb this whole thing is. Come January. Welcome to fuck around and find out for the next 4 fucking years.
One of Donald Trump's first official acts could raise prices for your favorite beer and liquor and everyday essentials. If you enjoy acting a folio on Don Julio or cracking open a cold Modelo or Corona, get ready for a more expensive night out. Constellation Brands, the brewer behind Modelo and Corona, and Diageo, the London-based company that produces Don Julio tequila in Mexico, saw their stocks fall after Trump announced a plan to impose a 25% tariff on Mexican imports. Since all Don Julio tequilas are produced in Mexico, Diageo is prepared to pass the additional costs on to consumers. Similarly, Constellation, which imports all of its beers from Mexico, is likely to raise prices to offset the tariffs. These increased costs will hit consumers directly at the checkout line or on your bar tab. Trump claims his proposed tariffs are aimed at combating illegal drugs and immigration. However, critics argue that the plan could drive up prices for everyday items. The tariffs would increase costs on a wide range of products, things like Mexican avocados, Canadian cars, and Chinese electronics. For example, a new car could cost several $1,000s more, and prices for electronics like laptops and home appliances would see significant increases. Ironically, while Trump's tariffs blame foreign countries for failing to curb drug and weapon smuggling, the U.S. plays a significant role in sustaining this horrible cycle. Just recently, Florida residents were caught trafficking firearms to cartels, fueling the very violence Trump claims to combat. Additionally, data from the United States Sentencing Commission reveals that most individuals sentenced for fentanyl trafficking were U.S. citizens. This highlights the domestic roots of the problem, yet the tariffs shift the burden onto consumers and threaten international relationships. Although the tariffs are marketed to protect Americans, they're more likely to hurt the very people they claim to help, especially working class families who depend on affordable, low-cost goods. The true cost of these tariffs extends beyond a pricier beer or tequila. It risks retaliation from trade partners and adds financial strain on everyday consumers. In the end, it seems like Trump's America First policies seem to put American working class last.
Donald Trump has pledged 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Let's read out the full statement for you here on Live Now from Fox. He said, as everyone is aware, thousands of people are pouring through Mexico and Canada, bringing crime and drugs at levels never seen before. Right now, a caravan coming from Mexico, composed of thousands of people, seems to be unstoppable in its quest to come through our currently open border. On January 20th, as one of my many first executive orders, I will sign all necessary documents to charge Mexico and Canada a 25% tariff on all products coming into the United States and its ridiculous open borders. This tariff will remain in effect until such time as drugs, in particular fentanyl, and all illegal aliens stop this invasion of our country. Both Mexico and Canada have the absolute right and power to easily solve this long simmering problem. We hereby demand that they use this power, and until such time that they do, it is time for them to pay a very big price there. So obviously this is something that Donald Trump has campaigned on. And again, we are bringing that to you all right here on Live Now from Fox.
If you voted for Trump because you thought he was going to bring grocery prices down, I have some very bad news for you.
Donald Trump wants to hit Canada and China and Mexico in their wallets, which means tariffs. The president-elect on Truth Social, of course, promising to penalize both neighbors to the north and to the south with a 25% tariff on all products entering the U.S.
A lot of our produce comes from Mexico. 2/3 of the tomatoes that Americans purchase are from Mexico. 90% of the avocados that they purchase are from Mexico, just to mention two examples. So that guac is definitely going to cost extra. If you voted for Trump because you thought he was going to bring down the cost of housing, a lot of our lumber, cement, other materials comes from Canada, which means that construction costs are going to go up. Not to mention all of the ways he's going to roil the U.S. auto industry, because a lot of autos cross borders in North America multiple times before they're ultimately finished and sold to consumers. Not to mention the fact that a lot of U.S. manufacturers purchase inputs, intermediate goods like metals and cement and other things from Canada, from Mexico, and not to mention even the retaliation that we should expect. All of which is going to be very bad for consumers, not to mention, again, many of the U.S. workers that Trump allegedly wants to help.
Hello, you guys. Well, the tariffs everybody voted for is here. Trump is about to be in office, and it just seems like he's already started. Since the day he got elected, like he's already in office, you guys. And, you know, prices are about to rise because it just seems like, how can I say this? We get all our stuff from Mexico, mainly everything, it seems like, from Mexico and China, right? Clothes, shoes, toys, cars, all that stuff from these different countries, right? And it's going to be very expensive. You know, like you hear in these videos, how everything is going to go up even more. If you think everything's expensive now, like I do, maybe we haven't seen nothing yet. Or maybe they won't. We don't know. We don't know until January 20th comes. Then we will see. But this just seems like it's about to get bad for people who don't already have a lot of cash on hand. It's just so it's just so crazy. you know, but I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say. All I can say is that prices are about to get high and our wages may not be going up because I don't know if you guys ever repeat what Donald Trump said. I saw a video where I heard him say he'll slash wages, but we don't know. We'll just have to see, you know. But I don't really know much on this topic. So have a great day, YouTube.